What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to share with you the best advice for first-time entrepreneurs. Now, I know there's a lot of advice floating around out there on the internet, but in this video, I'm going to share with you from my personal perspective and experience, my 5 pieces of advice for first-time entrepreneurs. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ksebati. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro. And in the last 5 years or so, we've built MySwimPro to be a global technology and media company with a distributed team that spans 10 different time zones. In this series, I help entrepreneurs take their business to the next level. And if you have an idea for starting a company, but you're not really sure what to do next, you've come to the right place because I'll help you build the right entrepreneurial mindset and the tips and tricks that you need to take those first steps. If any of that sounds interesting, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let's get right into it. Now, my first piece of advice for first-time entrepreneurs is a simple one. It's to get started. As simple as it sounds, it is so important that you take those first steps. I like the expression in the quote, the hardest step is the first one, because it truly is so tiring and anxiety building to take that first step. And if you've already taken the first few steps, that's awesome. Congratulations. You've actually done the hardest part. Now, the next step is to keep going. You've got to take those next steps. You can't let off the gas pedal. If anything, you should put your foot on the gas pedal down all the way and accelerate. You need to take the next steps in your initiative, whatever it may be, whatever your type of business you're building. You just have to keep moving. If you're interested in specifically how you can get started and you don't really know what to do from the very beginning, check out the video I did linked in the description on how to get started. But truly, the most important and impactful thing that you can do right now is to get started. Why, you might ask? Because you don't know what you don't know. If you don't get started, you're not going to know how you can iterate on whatever it is that you're building. If you're starting a restaurant, you're not going to know what recipes and what tastes and what people are actually interested in eating. If you're starting a software company, a technology firm, you're not going to know what the end consumer, whether it's B2B or B2C, actually needs. If you don't take those first steps, you're never going to know. And you also don't get the benefit of compounding growth. It is really important that you start that compounding growth as soon as possible. If you're not familiar with compounding growth, it's simply applying to what you would see in the finance world, where if you invest $1 today, it's going to be much larger in 20 years than if you invest that same dollar in 15 years from now. So the earlier you start, not necessarily from a financial perspective, but from a learning perspective, the earlier that you start, you'll position yourself to grow exponentially. The later you wait and the longer you delay to take those first steps, then you're basically just limiting what your potential is, because you're limiting the opportunity for growth and for learning that you can iterate upon. So step number 1, advice number 1, is to get started. Now, step number 2, advice number 2, is to move quickly. If you guys think I'm talking really fast, go ahead and hit that like button. But no, it's not about talking fast. It's not about performing certain things in a certain speed. Not at all. It's about continuing that grind. You might work really hard for one day and then you take a break for a week. That's not going to cut it. You have to be consistent. It's actually a marathon, not a sprint. Just run at Eliud Kipchoge pace, breaking the marathon world record. So you want to move fast, but you want to do it in a consistent and sustainable way. The benefits of moving fast is that you get to learn from your mistakes. The faster you can iterate and learn on those mistakes, again, it comes back to the compounding growth, the better situated you will be for growth. And by iterating as soon as possible on the market, on the product, on the service feedback that you get, you can take your learnings and improve your offering. Apply the lean startup methodology. And that basically says take all the feedback that you learn, iterate on your product or service or offering, make it better, put it back in the market, relearn, and continue to improve that process. And the faster you can make that circle go, the faster it comes full circle. The faster you can do that, the quicker you will see results. So it's really important that you move fast. If you're not really sure how to move fast, I did a video specifically on how to move fast in a startup. Check it out in the description below. Now, step number 3, advice number 3, is to be relentlessly resourceful. I really like the way that sounds. Maybe it's the double R. But when you're say it with me, relentlessly resourceful. When you're relentlessly resourceful, it means that you're frugal. You make smarter decisions. You make quicker decisions. It doesn't mean that you have a big pile of cash and you just spend the money aimlessly. You have to be really efficient. And by being more efficient, it will set you up more for sustainability, but it'll also allow you to scale. So when you do have more resources, you've been able to build an efficient engine, an efficient ship that can move quickly and that can apply that new capital and those new resources in a more impactful way. So it's really important that you are resourceful. You're always finding a way to make it happen. Having limited resources, whether it's capital, human capital, financial capital, infrastructure, it doesn't matter, because as an entrepreneur, you need to be resourceful and you have to use what you have and don't use it as a disadvantage or as an excuse to not make stuff happen. So you have to be resourceful, relentlessly resourceful. If you guys are interested, check out the video I did, 7 personality traits that entrepreneurs share with 007. It's a pretty fun video. Check it out, linked in the description below. Now, the fourth piece of advice is to become a domain expert. Now, hopefully you're building a company in a domain that you're already passionate about, that you already have expertise, and that is how you were able to find the problem in the market that you would like to solve. If that's not the case, it's actually okay. What I do advise is that you go and spend a lot of time in the market, you talk to a lot of people, you listen, and you try and observe what the real problems are. The only way you can do that and the only way you'll be successful is if you are a true domain expert. What does that mean? It means you're one of the people. You are the user of the product, or at least if you're not the user of the product, you are very, very close to the user of the product. So if you're trying to solve a medical problem, maybe you don't have the problem yourself, but you need to talk and listen and understand the people who have the problem that you're trying to help. If you're at the restaurant and you're lactose intolerant, it's going to be really difficult for you to create some type of a dairy product. But if you speak with and you understand and you listen to the people who could be consuming this new food or service or product or whatever it is that you're doing, then you're going to be positioned so much more efficiently to solve this problem in a way that no one has ever done before. Because as an entrepreneur, you are trying to change the status quo. The only way you can change the status quo and innovate and create something new is if you have complete domain mastery. So you have to lead with your expertise, and think about that 10,000 hour rule. If you haven't really applied 10,000 hours to becoming a skill and building your craft, you should really think twice about building a company or an organization or a business inside of that domain. Again, if you don't have that kind of domain expertise, maybe you're just starting out, it's okay, but you need to position yourself to continuously learn so you can have that compounding growth as soon as possible. And now my fifth piece of advice, which really has been amplified recently at my company, MySwimPro, but it's all about KISS. No, not kissing someone, but keep it simple, stupid. And I think this acronym is actually super overrated, because oftentimes you think, okay, I'm building a company. If it's a technology company, I've got to have some fancy algorithm, intellectual property. If I'm creating a food item, it has to have this secret sauce recipe. It's got to be super fancy. Most of the time, that's actually not true. You don't need to have a secret sauce. You don't need to have any algorithm or anything like that. You need to keep it simple, stupid. At the end of the day, you have identified a problem in the market. You're going to solve the problem, and someone's going to pay you for it. Most of the time, 99 point whatever percent of the time, it's not going to be as fancy as you think it needs to be. Your business model, the way you charge money, it's either going to be a subscription, an ad product. You're going to pay directly to the consumer. It's going to be white labeled. You're going to sell data, right? I just listed a majority of all business models right there in one sentence. So if you're trying to combine different things and come up with some new business model, some new crazy marketing campaign, most likely it's already been done. So don't try and reinvent the wheel. That's another piece of advice that didn't make it on here. Don't reinvent the wheel. But keep it simple, stupid. We'll put reinvent the wheel underneath, keep it simple, stupid. So it's so important that you really focus on the fundamentals. Identify a problem, solve that problem, charge money and transact for solving that problem. And if you can't articulate what you're working on, this problem that you're solving, in such simple language, then you're probably not going to be successful. And that's my biggest piece of advice here, is keep it simple, stupid, to a point that you can articulate the problem that you're solving, the business model that you're using. And I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Answer that question. What is the problem you're solving? What is your solution? What is your business model? Do it all in one sentence or like 3 bullet points. Let me know in the comments. And if you can't articulate it in a public forum like a YouTube comment, then it's probably too complicated and you're gonna have a lot of roadblocks. Because if you, the founder, the entrepreneur, the CEO, if you can't explain it, or you're afraid of explaining it publicly because you're afraid that it doesn't make any sense, or that someone's gonna steal your idea, that's not true, that's not gonna happen, but you have to get started. So go ahead, put yourself out there, let me know. There's no wrong answers to anything, but let me know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, I really appreciate it if you would give me a big like. Of course, subscribe to the channel for more entrepreneurship best practices and tips. Also, make sure you check out that video I have linked in the description, 7 personality traits with 007. If you guys haven't already followed me on social media, follow me. I'm on all the big ones, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snap, TikTok, all that good stuff at my name. Check it out, also linked in the description below. Again, let me know in the comments, what you guys are working on. Would love to see how I can be helpful. Put yourself out there, keep it simple, stupid, and just go for it. As always, stay safe and keep hustling.